Hello friends, I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to talk about anti-fascist Opsec. And I'm bringing this up now because tomorrow is May Day, International Workers' Day. And for those who don't know, I'm just going to give a brief overview of what May Day actually is. It's the 1st of May. It is a historic holiday that is to commemorate those who have died during the Haymarket Affair. There was a bomb that was unexplained and still unexplained to this day, and no one knows who threw the bomb in the Haymarket Square of Chicago. But the police made no mistake to arrest the anarchists who attended the Haymarket Affair, and jury, and I don't know about jury, but the court didn't even bother to check to see if the claims were legitimate against the anarchists. So that's what May Day is, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Not necessarily the history of May Day, although I would recommend looking into labor history as much as possible. And I was thinking about what would be the most useful video to make in light of this year's May Day. Also, I do want to point out that Amazon workers are still protesting and demanding better working conditions in the pandemic. Colombian workers are having a general strike. There was, and I'm not sure if there still is, a general strike, the largest general strike in world history, in India. And I highly recommend looking into those because they need all the support that we can give them, especially in the first world, if you will. So tomorrow's May Day, and usually what you do during May Day is you march. You have a big old march. You block some streets. You say some slogans. It's a good moment to meet your fellow working people. A lot of disabled people will show up as well. People of all different colors and backgrounds will show up to this event, and it's not just in one city or neighborhood. It's actually all over the world. The United States, however, they like to suppress the teaching of May Day and what it does. That's why people believe that Labor Day is in September. So what we're going to talk about today is actually anti-fascist Opsec. Also, hello everyone in chat. I see you, and I am very grateful to have you on board today. We're going to go over Opsec. Well, Opsec stands for Operation Security. Now, I want to make it very clear. I'm not a lawyer. I would actually double check some of the things I say in this video. But what I'm talking about in this video is primarily like my experiences and what I've heard from other lawyers, you know? So like I said, I'm just speaking based on my own subjective experience using Opsec when attending protests. I will say I've made some mistakes in the past. Those mistakes weren't deadly. No one ended up in jail as a result of my mistakes. No one was hurt during my mistakes that I'm aware of, but the mistakes that I made should not have been made. And if you don't keep good Opsec, then you are in potential of putting your life or someone else's life in danger. And that's kind of what we're going to be discussing today. I want this to be relatively short, so I'm going to try to bullet point through my notes as quick as I can. Also, if you want to follow along, I put the notes in the description below so you can follow along and go point by point. And if you have any questions, you're free to ask me in chat, or I can answer them in the comments section after the stream/video that we make here. So let's not waste any more time. Let's begin. The first rule is, I would say, and this is kind of important, and that is wear a mask. Now, you may think this is obvious. You may think this is point blank obvious that we're in a pandemic. You should wear a mask to protect your community. I don't think I really need to explain why wearing a mask is important in a pandemic. But The reason why I'm actually pointing this out is not because of that, but because it's actually good for concealing your identity. I have one with a bandana color on it, or color, but pattern on it. It's ideal to get a bandana that is as indistinguishable as possible. It is actually a good idea to maybe get a black COVID mask or a white COVID mask. It is actually a really good idea to make sure that your mask cannot be distinguished from a crowd. That's kind of the point here. Now, the second thing is, and this is really important, is to block up. Now, I will say right off the bat, you should not, no, let me rephrase real quick. You should not use a black mask or a black, you shouldn't block up is what I'm trying to say. You don't necessarily have to. It's actually a better idea to actually wear as colorful clothes as you can. Granted, if all your clothes is black, that's fine, but you want to wear as much casual clothes mixed in with, your block as much as possible. What I would recommend is, no matter what you wear, however, is wear a long sleeve shirt with that'll cover your tattoos. You want to make sure that you're covering your legs with long pants. You want to make sure that maybe your neck is covered. And now I'm going to teach you something, a little trick about black shirts. This is not, as you can see through the material, this is not ideal for black bloc. You want to get a cotton t-shirt, like a band t-shirt or something. So what you do is you put your head through this. You want to put your face through this right here, the head hole. You want to put your face right here, but you don't want it to pop all the way out. You also want to, actually, I forgot to do this part, but you gotta get the arms. And these aren't the best arms that I have right now, but what you do is you put it back here like this. You want to make an eye, a big old eye hole. And then tie the arms around the back of your head. Can't exactly see what I'm doing, but let's see. All right, now what you want to do, make sure your nose is covered. You also want to make sure all of your hair is covered, completely covered. This is not my ideal way of doing it, by the way. This is what some people would prefer to do. Now, I say this because you may not be at a protest. You may be doing something else. I don't know what that something else would be. Not my business. Don't type it out in the chat. Don't need to incriminate yourself or anyone else. Now, granted, in theory, this would work better if I had an actual t-shirt. But the cool part is that despite my sloppy fucking job of doing this, the thing you need to understand is that your hair needs to be covered. These need to be covered. Your nose, and your neck. Hopefully the back of your neck. Maybe you can wear a hoodie like this. And ultimately, you want to make sure that you're not able to be identified. Also, wearing glasses like shades is also a good idea. I would recommend wearing a hat maybe if you don't have a whole lot of hair. If you can actually, I might be able to might have a hat that could work for this example. No, I don't. Not I do, but it's not. I don't have it quite handy at this point. But if you can put your hair all the way back, put it in one big ponytail or whatever you need to do, and then put it on your head like that. That can actually be some very helpful way to conceal your identity. The reason why you want to conceal your identity during this, by the way, is because it's not just for your safety. It's also for the safety of people around you. It's also for the safety of anyone that you go with to a protest or a march. It is also important to keep safe, so that way your family doesn't get affected by this, and the possibilities of you getting doxxed and arrested are very high in this situation. But let me continue by moving on to the third point. Bring water. You will be out walking, and you will be using a lot of your energy. And also bring a snack. I would recommend bananas, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like things like that. Hello, Jaxie. It's been a long time. I remember you back in the early days of the Discord. But yeah, that's what you want to do, is you want to make sure that you have something that can not only like hydrate you, but also something that can actually like put some energy in your body. And I don't mean like a granola. Well, you can do a granola bar, yes, but I mean like I'd say peanut butter and jelly, because peanut butter is a good source of protein and it's really easy to make. It's also very delicious if you're not sick of eating them from, making them for school or work or whatever. But it gets the job done. You're not gonna be unhappy because you have peanut butter and jelly at a protest or a rally or a march. Anyway, I would also recommend don't bring any weapons. Don't bring weapons. Instead, bring medical supplies as first aid, like first aid and like gauze to prevent bleeding. And I would also recommend that if you're gonna do anything, hold on, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's move on to the next point. The next point would be okay, number 4. I highly recommend and highly suggest learning CPR or some kind of useful things like how to use Narcan. My local SRA chapter taught me how to use Narcan in a training exercise that we did. I highly recommend you learn how to use Narcan. You never know when you could run into a situation where people are tear gassed, or if someone's having an asthma attack, or if someone is overdosing on something, or if they're having a heart attack because of anxiety. You never know if that kind of stuff. Exactly. Be the soldier. I'm sorry. Don't be the soldier. Be the medic. Exactly. So definitely be there to help others if they need it. Let's see. And then number 5, we're halfway through it. Making good progress already. If the police ask for to identify yourself, you absolutely do not have to identify yourself. Your right to assemble at a protest is your First Amendment right. Granted, the police don't agree with the First Amendment right, and there are legal loopholes around the First Amendment. Actually, there's a lot of legislation happening all over the country right now as we speak that is authorizing people to run over protesters, and they are authorizing the the outlaw of protesting to begin with. They're allowing police officers and police departments in certain parts of the country to use excessive force on protesters if they see them congregating. No matter what, however, that is your First Amendment right, and no matter what law is legislated in whatever territory, though you should be aware of what those laws are, you should have the right to protest. Like, at the very basic bare minimum, you should have the right to protest, and that should go unchallenged. However, be sure to ask if you're being detained. You should ask if you're being detained. You should ask if there's been a charge on you at all. If they persist, the point is you don't have to give them information. I mean, like, the police can't do anything to you meaningfully unless they have a reason to. Like, if they see you doing something that they can cite you for, Welcome, Miss Danger. I don't think we're gonna have anything triggering this in this discussion, so should be fine today. So ask if you're free to go from the police. If they dismiss you, say absolutely nothing. Don't say a word. Don't say "fuck you, pig." Don't say "fuck 12." Don't say "a cab." Don't say any of that shit. I mean, I'm not trying to say be nice to the police. I'm trying to say don't get your ass arrested by the fucking police just because you want to tell them that you fucking hate them. Because, let's just face it, they don't take criticism very well. Why would you expect them to be? Why would you expect them to be receptive of something like that? If you don't tell them anything, like, they can't pin you for a charge, though. That's kind of the thing. And more importantly, not communicating to the police officers can potentially save other people's lives, you know? If you tell the police, like, anything, and I mean anything, they can use that against you. I mean anything. You tell them your name, tell them your friend's name, you tell them where the march is gonna go. Honestly, like, most marches that have been, like, planned ahead of time, they have a designated route that is, you know, that is authorized by the city. Usually. Like, not always, of course. But, like, usually when there's a march and it's been authorized by the city, the police already know what the route's gonna be. They're asking you questions like that to get information out of you. Don't trust the fucking police. Okay, so this next one is a little contested. You may feel free to correct me on this one. I've never had to deal with this one personally, but I've heard a lot of accounts that if you are pepper sprayed, you should use milk. Some people have said that you should use water. I would recommend doing, a little bit of research on this before using either milk or water. But what that's supposed to do is supposed to rinse the pepper spray out of your eyes. It's supposed to help your eyes not burn. So number 7, if you go with a friend, stay with that friend. Like, don't leave them to go socialize with other protesters. You have to be with them. Like, I know, like, y'all want your independence, but, like, that's the point. You need to stick together. Like, you need to have a buddy system, is what I'm calling it. Like, a fucking buddy system. You need to know who you came with, and, like, you need to have, like, an objective for being there. Whatever that objective is, you need to discuss it with them, and it's important for, like, you to communicate everything that you do. Like, whether it be, you know, where you're gonna park, where you're gonna meet, what happens if this happens, you know, things like that. You need to prepare for things like that in case things go wrong. You need to be aware of not only your safety, but the person you go with and the safety of the people around you. So let's see, where am I now? Number 8, if you get arrested, immediately ask for a lawyer and continue to say absolutely nothing to the police. The police, first of all, they need to arrest you with a charge. They need to be able to charge you with something. Again, that involves breaking whatever law you break, and you get caught for it, that is. But more importantly, they need to be able to say, we're arresting you because of this reason. And if you talk to a lawyer, they will most likely be able to help you in that situation. The police cannot listen to your conversations when you talk to a lawyer. Absolutely not. If you're in jail, however, and you need to talk to, like, your mom or your friend or something, or, well, more specifically, in this case, one of your comrades or someone that you're coordinating with involving the protests or any other form of activism, you need to be mindful that the police will be listening to that conversation. You need to remember that the police will use whatever information that they can get out of you, and they will use that against you. Be very vivid of that. Number 9, this is my personal opinion, bring soup. In fact, bring all different kinds of food to give out. I remember in Occupy Wall Street 2012, I went to a protest in Los Angeles in Pershing Square, and someone was just giving out, like, free vegan burritos. They were so good and so delicious, and it made being there a lot more bearable because it was very hot that day. I was really tired from walking around. I mean, I had to travel to LA to begin with, and then on top of that, just like you know, stay safe from the police. And I obviously at this point in my life, I had much less experience in this field than most people, well, no, what I mean is, I had a lot less experience than I do now, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't protect my tattoos. I actually didn't have any tattoos back then. But, point is that, like, food is good. Food is good. And soup is good food. A lot of people at the march are hungry and they need food. A lot of those people are workers and disabled people. And a lot of, of those people are from Black and Indigenous people of color communities. So they're marching to see, like, material change. And if you're giving out food and soup to protesters, granted, I highly recommend using great caution when handling the food and wrapping it and, preparing it to give to others, and I would recommend using, like, consideration that some people might not want to eat your food because of the pandemic specifically. Used to be much easier to do back then. Now, gotta be a little bit careful who you accept food from. So, it can be very helpful if you are giving out food to people as long as you understand people's boundaries. I would recommend maybe wearing gloves, like if you're going to be handling food, both the preparing process and the giving out process, things like that. And number 10, while heading home, make sure that you change out of your block. Like, you want to make sure that, like, your block is not, like, first of all, you're going to have sweat on your block. You're going to have, like, dirt on your block. You're probably going to have, like, some kind of chemicals on your block. And those chemicals can really hurt you if you're not careful. It can damage your skin. Can damage your body in general. Actually, more importantly, the reason why you want to change out of your block is because if you're going from somewhere where the protest takes place back home, and depending on your ride home, if you don't have a car, sometimes people take public transportation, you don't want to look like you just came from, like, 1999, WTO protest in Seattle. You don't want to look like you just came from that. You want to look like you are just, you want to blend. That's the point. You want to blend into, like, the world around you. You also want to try to blend within the protest. You want to, if the protest is not so heavily black blocked and everything like that, you want to dress accordingly to that. Because if you're blocked up and everyone else is not super blocked up and black and, shirt, helmet, masks or whatever, like I just did a minute ago, and you're in there like that, the police can find you a lot easier through those mechanisms. And that's why you want to be very aware of what you're wearing. And you also want to make sure that when you're not at the designated place for protesting, you want to make sure that you don't stand out. Again, it'll result in the police making it easier to pin you down and arrest you. It is ideal to bring a change of clothes and to do it, in a safe place away from police view and from the protests as a whole. Like, you want to make sure you want to stay away from where things are happening when you're in the vulnerable position of changing your clothes. If you can go to, like, I've had desperate situations where I've had to go in behind a building, like, in a little, like, actually behind a building, behind a trash can, behind, like, a garbage dump, and I had to change one time. I've had to change, like, in people's cars once in a while. I've been very lucky to be able to change in the bathroom of a restaurant once, but you might not have that luxury in the pandemic right now. Also, something I just thought up was bring hand sanitizer if you need it. And I would also say that, more importantly, like, be careful who you talk to. This is just, like, extra stuff. This isn't even on the list. Be very aware of who you talk to. Don't give any of your information out to people at protests. Don't even fucking give them your social media, like, at all. Like, you don't know who's gonna be there. You don't know if that's a cop. I mean, I'll tell you, there was one time where I was at MacArthur Park in Los Angeles, and we were protesting, like, ICE, pretty much. And there was, like, as soon as I parked my car, and I had a group of friends, there was this white guy who was, like, in his early 20s. He had, like, a green T-shirt on, and it was, like, you know, the raised fist. And, he was asking us questions like, hey, where you all from? You know, like, where's the protest gonna be at? Like, did you come for the protest? What are your views? You know, like, don't tell them any of that shit. Like, the minute they start asking, like, really personal shit like that, like, beeline the other way. Like, even if you, like, I'll be honest with you, even if you have to call them out and tell them to leave you the fuck alone because of Opsec reason, and other people see you, they'll know that that person's up to no good. And you should make sure that the community that you're protesting along with should be aware of things like that, because, like, that will help, like, less people get hurt and, you know, taken away or arrested. It'll prevent people from getting hurt in that process. All right, everyone. So those are my tips for, you know, anti-fascist Opsec, and I would recommend, you know, you write your own tips in the description. Also, if I had said something incorrect, let me know. Let me know what works for you, and let me know what doesn't work for you, you know, just things like that. And I guess, like, the best way to do this is, the best way to end this is to simply say, if you're gonna protest, like, make sure that not only, like, your voice is heard and other people and other voices are heard, but make sure that, like, you're all safe, because America doesn't like protesters. Like, they really don't. You know, that at the end of the day, they all say, like, you know, Black Lives Matter and Antifa are ruining the streets, and they're rioting, and you know, honestly, the point I'm trying to make is, it's not to maintain, like, respectability with people that are reactionary. The point I'm trying to make is that no matter what you do in terms of activism, whether it be like some rally that has a bunch of slogans and, you know, seeks to change material conditions in your neighborhood, or if you're going to do, like, direct praxis that involves, like, illegalist shit, you need to at least understand some basic protocols to operation security. I haven't even begun to talk about, like, how to use operation security, like, in a collective or in an organization that you run. I haven't even talked about, like, OPSEC involving, like, you know, technology and data. I have not talked about that. I would highly recommend looking into operation security and how you can protect yourself from getting hacked or doxxed or spied on. I would also recommend looking up information on how to protect yourself when you get doxxed, or if you get doxxed. I've been doxxed before. It is not fun. Although I was doxxed a long time ago, and they never found me. They got, like, the way they doxxed me was they got, like, wrong information from, like, different sources, and they thought it was me, and they eventually went to other people. But that's kind of the problem, though, right? Is that they went to other people, even though I was the one getting doxxed. And other people had to deal with my bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why you gotta be careful. That's why you gotta protect yourself as well as others around you. I highly recommend, I don't know, I didn't put it in the description, but I will, but there's actually a really good zine that you can find on Crime Think about Operation Security. It's about security culture specifically, and it's very helpful in teaching people, like, what to be alert for. I would also recommend learning how to make an anarchist affinity group. I'll see to putting that in the description as well, because I think it is a very good resource, and I think it's also on the Crime Think website. So I think the last thing I want to bring up is just like what's going on tonight, because actually I'm gonna be in 2 different streams. It's my first stream. I'm gonna be on like 3 streams today. This one is my first one. The next one is gonna be at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time p.m. With Trekkie69 on Twitch. I'm going to be celebrating Shabbat with them, and we're going to have some fun. And then at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be on the Non-Compete Twitch and YouTube channel doing a fundraiser with them. So take care, everyone. I wish you well, and if you do protest, be safe. And I would also continue to learn how to be safe if you can, so that you can protect